Hello, and welcome to Living Your Best Senior Life. I'm Nancy Andre, Community Relations Director for Wingate Living. Wingate does still have a few openings right now for our new independent living community, 1 Wingate Way East, opening up spring of 26. And as always, as I like to mention throughout our show, please feel free to contact me with any questions, concerns, happy thoughts, sad thoughts, what have you. Anyways, today I'm super excited for our guest today, Melissa Harper. She is the Director of Sales from West River Care. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Melissa. So I am super excited to catch up and to learn all of these wonderful things that you do, and you do in conjunction with Wingate Senior Living. So welcome.
Thank you, Nancy, for having me.
So why don't you start with tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me the why behind why you do what you do.
Okay. Well, as you said, my name is Melissa Harper. I have been a licensed social worker here in Massachusetts since 1998. My whole career has been in the geriatric population, whether it be discharge planning, nursing home social worker, and now the Director of Sales and Marketing for West River Care.
Okay.
West River Care is right here in Newton, in case you guys don't know.
It's literally down the street.
Right down the street.
Great.
And it's a nice, small, family-owned home health, hospice, and private duty agency.
Okay. Why, I know that you kind of just stressed small, and I think we're on the same page here. Why is that so important?
As most people feel, small allows us the ability to spend more time with our patients. Okay. Most of the agencies now have become corporations. Right. They might be dealing with 1,000 patients in Massachusetts. I'm dealing with 100. Big difference.
That's a huge difference. So you are literally able to provide that service element that I don't want to say has been forgotten, but sometimes is just not, you're just not able to do it.
Yes.
As companies grow and don't have the infrastructure in place.
Yep.
So interesting. Okay, what does West River Home Care, Health, VNA, and Hospice do? And what are some of the major differentials as we are in a field right now that has so many home care, so many hospice, so many VNA, so many assisted living? Where do we exactly?
All right. Well, first, West River Home Health, VNA, and Hospice offers a continuum of in-home medical and supportive care services focused on helping individuals either recover from an illness or injury or live comfortably through the final stages of life. I'm just going to break down what each agency
That's absolutely perfect.
can do and for who.
Yeah, exactly.
So West River Home Health is for people who are recovering from an acute medical illness, like a surgery, injury.
So they're in the hospital. Let's take it even a step back.
Okay.
They are now in the hospital, correct? The patient?
They could be in the hospital. They could be at a rehab. They could be at their doctor's office for an acute, emergency visit because they're not feeling
good.
So any of those count as an acute episode.
Okay.
So, and who it's for, like I said, it's for the people that are having something acute. They're temporarily homebound and need some type of skilled service. Meaning we provide skilled nursing care, we provide physical therapy, occupational therapy, medical social work, home health aides. The purpose is always short-term for home health. It's rehabilitative support to help you regain your independence. Our whole goal is to get you back to what you were doing before. It's ordered by your doctor, it's covered by your insurance. So that's kind of home health, just in a quick nutshell.
Okay.
And then
Is it covered by all insurance? So as far as Medicare, we've got Medicare A, then we've got B, and
so it falls under Medicare A, is what covers home health. the managed care products, all of the Medicare HMOs cover it, Medicaid covers it.
Okay.
All insurances usually cover it. There are some insurances, some, even younger people sometimes have an injury or an illness.
Right.
Some PPO plans may not have that benefit, and you have to check. We always run insurance anyway, but there are a couple that there is no home health benefit, but the majority
Most of them do.
do.
Okay. And that way there's no surprises because you or somebody from your team is directly involved to make sure that they know what's
They
covered,
know
what's
ahead of
not.
time.
They're not
Correct.
just getting a surprise bill.
We never start services. The first thing we always do is make sure we are what we call in network.
Okay,
We've all
yeah.
heard of that
Oh,
with
we all
insurance.
know.
With
Absolutely.
insurance. So as long as we run that first, and then we let the doctors know and the patient know we are in network,
Okay.
and offer them and let them know what the doctor ordered if they'd like us. It's their choice if we come out into the home. So it is no surprises. We do not just show up if we have not checked in the insurance and know that everything is 100% covered.
I love that. Okay.
And then
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's all
No,
right.
I
And then
just
that
wanted
was
to
just
say,
home
yeah,
health.
That's home
and
health. All right.
That's
next
home
one.
health.
Okay.
Hospice.
The H word.
I know. Hospice is for individuals with a serious terminal illness who are no longer seeking curative treatment.
Okay.
We at West River provide nurses for symptom and pain management, a home health aide for companionship, as well as personal care support, the social worker for emotional and practical support, a chaplain for spiritual care, volunteers and Reiki practitioners for companionship and comfort.
Okay.
The purpose of hospice is to provide comfort, dignity, and quality of life during the final stages of life, while also supporting the family.
Is there a time frame as far as when can somebody utilize that benefit?
So regulations state a doctor has to state your 6 months or less.
Okay.
So that if your disease went a normal process, that in 6 months you were projected that you would no longer be with us, then you are eligible for hospice. Does that mean if we take a patient on for hospice and we hit the 6-month mark, that all of a sudden they have to get discharged?
Okay.
No. If you meet the criteria, every person is different.
Yeah, it is
The
different.
journey is different. So
Sure.
as long as there is still a decline and no curative measures being done, we're just here to support the patient and they can stay on.
Why is, I feel like it's a benefit that is so important, and it's something that it's a free benefit.
Yep, it's covered.
I've now been able to, being involved in this business, senior living, to really get a good understanding of why somebody should, especially if they have a chronic, something that just is not getting better, and the timeline, everybody's different, but doesn't look, it's not like they've got several years based on their prognosis. But talk about the benefits. Talk about why it is so important should somebody get, a terrible diagnosis, that to bring the positive back into it, or even something that's chronic, congestive heart failure.
Absolutely.
My parents, I didn't realize that, both congestive heart failure, COPD, and they said your mom and dad is actually eligible for hospice, and I thought, well, this is crazy.
I think it's the taboo. People hear, like what you said earlier, the H word.
The H word, yes.
Hospice, people get afraid. Actually, I'm going to go to my myth page if you
Yeah,
don't
no,
mind, because that is
absolutely, because I think it's definitely
perfectly
something
what
that
I had put.
we don't discuss enough.
Yeah.
We don't discuss the wonderful positive things associated with hospice.
Yeah, and I think I had put this down as my myth. People think hospice is for your final days.
Right.
That it's only for your final days and it's meant to hasten death. That is not true. Hospice is not about giving up. It's about enhancing the quality of life, whatever your remaining time is.
Okay.
So many people believe hospice is only appropriate those last few days of life, or that somehow if they go on to hospice, it's going to speed up that dying process. In
Right.
reality, hospice care is designed to provide comfort, dignity, and support for the individuals with life-limiting illnesses, often over weeks, months. I've even had patients on for years.
I've seen that as well too.
So,
or people doing so well because they're adding a clinical piece.
And a
to their
support
care.
piece, because their main focus is their focus. What is that patient's goal? Meaning, what do they feel is quality in their life,
Right.
and what do they want? You know, hospice offers that pain and symptom management, so we're on top of the pain, so they're hopefully not experiencing that.
Sure.
Where before they were probably fighting through it, thinking that's what they needed to do. And improving their comfort helps their quality of life. We're
Absolutely.
providing that emotional and spiritual support, which helps both the patients and the family members or caregivers who are involved. We're helping everyone in that family to navigate those difficult decisions.
Right.
There's a lot more than just hearing the names. There is, whether it be code status, whether it just be burial. There's so much that comes up
Oh, gosh,
and
yeah.
is difficult and hard to talk about, that our staff is trained and there to help at their pace of when we can do
And
it.
it probably, or what I've seen just from personally being a caregiver to several members of my family, that it allows you to get back into that daughter. For example, in my case, it was I was the daughter and it was my sister, and it allowed me to have that just special relationship time with her and not to have to oversee everything that was, her blood pressure was lowering, her
Yep.
this or that. So we were able to get some things back.
Which is great, because the whole focus is on living fully.
Yeah.
In time that remains, that is their goal. You got to look at that. They're not past.
Yeah.
They're not dead.
No, they're here.
They're here.
They're
Let's
here.
live whatever point, what their goals.
Right.
Not focus on the diagnosis. Not focus on what's to come. Besides, what is it that makes them happy?
Right.
What is it that makes them comfortable?
Okay.
Hospice, like I said, doesn't hasten death. It helps people live with peace,
Right.
purpose, and presence.
Okay. What about, how difficult is it to get onto hospice? As far as, do they call their doctor? Do they call,
Yes.
what do they do?
So to get onto hospice, absolutely, you do need a doctor's, or like I said, the doctor would have to examine them and give that diagnosis
Okay.
that they have something that is 6 months or less.
Okay.
The doctor gives the order for hospice evaluation. We come out, we screen, we discuss with the patient, we discuss with the family, we look if they meet the criteria.
Okay.
Then we let you know if you do, you don't, what you're eligible for.
Okay.
We do all that
So it's
beforehand.
relatively straightforward,
Yep.
considering. Okay, so let's talk about the other things. So we know, as far as the services that West River Care provides, is the home health piece
And the hospice,
piece.
And the private duty, we do have that too. It's smaller. Our private duty mostly is for our own, whether it be hospice or home health, who need a little extra, who were on home health and now coming off, but might have an injection once a month that they
Okay.
can't do, but then they'll pay for some privately because that's not covered for long term. Or like I said, our hospice patients might need a little extra help, whether it be home health aide or a nurse extra than the home health aide that comes 5 days a week. They may pay for the private duty aide to supplement sometimes so that a caregiver can have time off.
Okay. And just do a little clarification as far as the private duty we are speaking, just for anybody that's watching right now. I know it can be very confusing because there's so much involved in this whole,
We
in this
don't,
whole
I'm not going to
circle.
say it's really not our prime focus, the private duty.
Yeah.
It really is, the home health and the hospice piece is what we focus majority of our clinicians in what we do, but we do have a small private duty
Okay.
license too.
How do you work with the senior living community out there? The assisted livings, the memory cares, even the independent living. You know, somebody is very independent, they're living in an independent community. For example, if they're living at Wingate and they have a fall and they go to the hospital, and then they meet with the absolutely fantastic case management team and the discharge planners, and they say, okay, let's just use myself as an example, Nancy, we are recommending A, B, C, and D. How do you get involved there on behalf of West River Care?
So if they're in the hospital and they know about us and they say you need home health, if you give them our name, they will send us the referral.
Okay.
Sometimes too, but the the case managers will, what they call, blanket out to a bunch of us.
Okay.
Then we, and based on insurance and what availability we have, we accept it. As far as like with their Wingates and that stuff, I don't think we touched upon it yet, but Wingate and we have the same owner.
Yes,
It's the
same owner.
So the Schuster family owns Wingate,
Yep.
and they started hospice in 2017 and then decided to branch another arm and do home health, and that started in 2021. So besides being small, we're also younger.
Yes, absolutely.
And so a lot
And very motivated to expand.
Absolutely.
In such a positive way as far as building the building blocks, bringing in all the right team players as far
Correct.
as to enhance, and then being able to offer this, because it is a benefit to anybody, specifically with Wingate, anybody living at Wingate, it's a huge benefit.
Absolutely.
Because it's part of the whole continuity of care that we talk about over and over and over.
Yeah. And I think too, what sets us apart is our mission. We're driven. At West River, our mission is simple but profound: to help you achieve optimal health with the kindness and care you deserve, surrounded by the people and in the environment that brings you comfort and
Right.
peace. We offer, like I had said, comprehensive services, a wide range, whether it be skilled nursing and rehab, chronic condition management,
Yep.
wound care, IV management. You don't have to be in the hospital we can help with that piece. We do medication management. We do palliative care for those patients who aren't ready for hospice, might have gotten a bad diagnosis, but they're not ready for that yet.
Sure.
Palliative care can still help you through that transition of symptom management and just the conversation, so when it is time, you are prepared to transition at the time that is appropriate for you for hospice.
Well, what do they say? I mean, we say this time and time again. Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
To have an understanding of all these various pieces of the puzzle, it's huge.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely huge. So, I think of it
And
as...
I'm very lucky. We have a team that is highly trained medical professionals who have been in the field for a while, who bring not only expertise but heart.
Yeah.
And that's why I came over. Like, I've worked with our executive director somewhere else before she brought me over. Like, there's a difference when it's not just a job and you're driven because of the purpose.
Absolutely. And it's the why behind what we do.
And
There's got to be something as far as, especially in this business that we are in, where there are so many different companies.
correct.
So you want to know that it feels right,
Yep.
and that you're working with people that truly that care beyond the fact that this is a job and they're being paid for this.
Correct. And we treat every patient like family,
And that's
because in our eyes, they are. Like,
Yeah.
we're small. Like I said, that's where it makes a huge difference. These nurses get to know, like, they know these patients. These are their patients.
Absolutely.
It's not that they're, we got 30 minutes and then I got to be out the door because I've got to be somewhere else because I have to see 8 in a day.
Well, that's
a
actually a
normal.
really great point, Melissa, because that is true. There are several companies out there where
You have to meet.
you have to maintain certain metrics, and it's a matter of, just like you said, you got to see between 8 to 10 patients a day, and it is rushed.
It's very
It can be. Now, I'm not saying always, but
but it can be,
but
and it's hard.
It can be, and you want to know that somebody is, especially at this point, and with it being such a sensitive area, that you are absolutely 100% sure of who you're working with, and that this person has got your back.
Yeah. And I think another big difference of West River is everything is person-centered. That is their approach to everything. We don't just care for conditions, we care for people.
Right.
So our person-centered philosophy ensures that every treatment plan is built around your goals, not my goals, your goals, your preferences, and lifestyle, enhancing your quality of life every step of the way. Because what I like is different than what you liked, Nancy.
And that's a biggie too, and also not what the family wants, what the actual patient, the person that we are caring for, what they want. Because oftentimes there can be issues and conflict around that. So that's a very, very, very important piece to it. Okay, what else? What else can you tell me in the few minutes we have remaining to cover? Something that we could probably talk about for years, because there's just so much to cover on that. How do people get in touch with you?
So we do have a website, westrivercare.com, so you can go on the internet and do that. My direct phone number is 781 753
753
7657.
7657.
So you can call me if you have any questions. As we've said, my job here is just to educate the community, help facilitate, build that trust and awareness in the community of who we are. We're, like I said, right next door. We're right in Newton.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
And to strengthen any relationships with these referral partners so that they know what's going on with their patients. Absolutely. And that they can have that trust and ensure that patients and families feel informed and supported during this journey, whether it's home health, whether it's hospice, either one. They want to know what's going on and what is available. And I'm also a big proponent of promoting wellness and education throughout the community.
I'm super excited to be working with you and to be co-marketing, since we basically work for West River and Wingate are in the same family there, and where you can get out into the community of Needham, which has been just probably one of the best communities I've ever worked in before.
Nice.
The amount of support is unbelievable. So we can go out and educate libraries, the YMCA, the doctor's office. We want to get the word out there as much as possible about who we are, and that we are that really, really incredibly important resource for you, for any time, for any question you may have. Ultimately, yes, wonderful. We would love for you to sign up with West River and Wingate, but we also understand that there are so many choices, and for us to be able to even to assist on some level is huge, and is success in our eyes.
Supporting families through difficult decision is deeply personal.
Yes.
And it is a purpose. That's what makes us love this career that we're in. Absolutely. Or what we want to do. Yes. In a field, as deeply and personal as ours, we understand that families often come feeling overwhelmed, uncertain, emotionally drained.
Oh gosh, yes.
Everything, or not even knowing where to turn. That's why our first priority is to listen. And sometimes you're listening, and if it makes them feel at ease, listen first, then start educating gently, because sometimes it's just a family member needs to feel like they're heard.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We believe there's no two journeys that are the same.
Right.
Every family, every patient, every situation is unique. We honor that by meeting people exactly where they are is only going to make them feel more at ease.
Absolutely.
We don't tell families what to do.
And there's
We guide.
also, too, when hospice is, what I found, which is
Yeah.
incredible, that when the person that is receiving the benefits does eventually pass, there's still resources out there for the family, which is huge.
Yep.
Because this thing called grief is a huge, can be a very, very, very long process. So to know that you have somebody, a direct contact with somebody that really just made such a huge imprint on your life, that's incredible. I mean, I get goosebumps when I talk about it because I've utilized those benefits, and it's everything.
So we do obviously bereavement support. They reach out right away. They follow those patients for up to 2 years.
yeah.
But
Really? That's
yes,
incredible.
We also do in this community. We do outreach. We have we're doing a support group over at Wingate. We have
a couple
our
support
chaplain
groups at Wingate, and
Yeah.
also one at
the
Temple
senior-
Emmanuel that we do.
Yep.
Yes.
And
so-
then we have the Council on Aging that we do.
Yes.
So we do that outreach because even if you're not one of our patients, you still sometimes need that support.
Absolutely.
And it needs to be out there for everyone. Grief is real, and everyone's grief process is different. And just because if it was a year ago, it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, and that sometimes you still need to work through it.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, we could talk all day long. You are absolutely phenomenal, and I am so happy that you took the time to come on to the Needham channel and to educate just a little bit on this really complicated, sometimes taboo subject as far as home health and hospice. But it's not a scary thing. It's actually a beautiful gift if you're working with the right people. So thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
taking the time. And you will see us out there in the community together, West River and Wingate. And if there's anything specific that you ever would like for Melissa and myself to come and to share with the various group, we are so happy to do so. Please just reach out to me and we will go from there. So until next month, thank you, and wishing everybody a wonderful, wonderful day.